Out. Okay, hi everybody. Welcome so much to Jewish Learning Ventures webinar that Lisa Richmond has been kind enough to offer to do with us today. If there is something you would like to do for us, we highly encourage you to do so. So Lisa is going to talk about tools for asynchronous learning, and I am going to hand it over to Lisa now. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Let me get to my screen share. And again, if anybody has any questions along the way, please don't hesitate to ask. And I will happily make this available to you because you will definitely want what I put at the end the other day. So first of all, this is something that I prepared for my faculty and for my religious school for Passover. And I did not do one for Israel or all of the Yom HaZikaron, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Yom Yerushalayim pieces, because I wanted the teachers to then pick whatever tools they could work with and create their own asynchronous learning opportunities. So again, this is all Passover. So one of the very important instructions to give everybody at the beginning is that they need to read through all instructions. I don't know if you remember when you were in school, a teacher gave you a piece of paper with a test or something and said to read all the way through it. And number 15 was, you don't have to take the test, sit back, put your feet up on the desk. And people would be taking the test, and the ones with the feet up on their desks were hysterical laughing, of course. So it is important that everybody read through the slides. And this particular set is based on the order of the Haggadah, but I was not going to lock the students in. I wanted them, because it's asynchronous, to do whatever they were most comfortable with. There also needs to be a way not to be so accountable for the learning and the cognitive skills that kids are gaining at this time. It's really a challenge. I think we need to do more informal assessments than anything. The students are encouraged to progress at their own rate and complete the activity or activities on any one slide before going to another. They can email me all the work for this particular one. If the teachers produce their own program, very elaborate or however short, it does not matter. Obviously, they would put their own email addresses in. I prepared for them a question and answer forum so that at any time they could post a question there, and then I would respond, and they, knowing that they had posted a question, they would check back. So this is just a question that I made up based on that. Let me move this down. It's easier not to enlarge it to the screen. It is important. What I did at the bottom of many of the slides in this purplish color, the burgundy or whatever it is, I put the rationale for what I did. So it is important that all expectations and learning objectives, I apologize, and I even meant to fix that, learning objectives be upfront. Whoops, sorry. Oh no. Okay, all the expectations and learning objectives be upfront. First slide, there are many kids who, at this point especially, are exhausted from sitting in front of a screen. There is definitely Zoom fatigue going on for parents and students. That emphasizes the need for asynchronous learning. So some of these activities are going to be things that they can do on the computer, and others you'll see they can do on their own. We do a, what do you know, what do you want to learn? And the first link is to a Jewish trivia quiz. You select how many questions you want, what topic you want, and we can take Passover or anything. And the kids can play as many times as they want until they learn the material, and they'll get better and better. I have told students if they score a certain grade to send it in, and I would give them credit. That's what I did more in the classroom. These interactive elements make the online learning much more engaging. Next, to keep them entertained, and also the way children learn music on the radio, the more they see videos like this, the more they'll pick up the lyrics to something. So this song, it's adorable, and he starts with the steps of the Seder. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
The sloth is a chill.
No, here we go. There's a Shavuot medley, evidently. I would put that in one. If you look to the right of the screen. And moving ahead. And he goes through a lot of other songs in this medley. And again, just like the radio, the kids have the ability to pick up the lyrics by watching it often. This next one is another video. I think this is the Mayim Bialik one.
Passover Seder, or in American, Seders, come in many forms, from those filled with skits, to those lasting all night, to those rushed through in an effort to get to the food. Whatever your Seder, there are some symbols and customs you'll see most of the time. In the middle of the table, there's...
So this video takes you through the Seder. We happen to have several interfaith families. We have families that are along the whole spectrum of levels of observance. So it's a basic how-to with an explanation of a lot of what happens at the Seder. And again, they can, because it's a video, they can go through and watch it as much as they want. And there's less intimidation when they watch at home instead of coming to a class. Even if it's a class with the rabbi in the congregation, you know, sometimes people are afraid to ask the questions. And if somebody asks a question, frequently it's one that others wanted to ask and didn't. So these types of videos offer that way out. Putting the story of Passover in context is important. I'm not going to play these two videos, but one of them is the Bim Bam video on Parshat Shmot, just explaining how Bnei Israel got to become slaves in Egypt. And then there's this cute 50-second recap. And by having resource links available for the students, they're not doing a whole Google search and coming up with not only an enormous waste of time very often, but things that are not pertinent or appropriate for them. This is a project for 7th graders only. I could have made a whole separate thing for them. I didn't. This was what I made for the whole school. I would encourage their teacher, though, to use something like this with the class. So this says, while Moshe was tending to the flocks of his father-in-law Yitro, he came upon a burning bush. It was aflame but not being consumed. The students are to click on the link below. This is going to be at one of the 2 online forums that I use that encourages collaboration. This happens to be Padlet, but I also use Lino Board a lot. And what I did with this one is I picked a background that looks like sand way out in the desert. And I'm very careful to put on either Lino or Padlet graphics, video sometimes, and print. And all of these are pieces of either background information or questions. The kids can then go, I can't move my screen up right now for some reason, but there we go. If you log in as a student, you would get a little plus sign, whereas in Lino, you get a whole series of Post-its to choose from. The children choose their Post-it and they have to post it right near what they're responding to. I remind them every time they must put their names on there. And then a frequent assignment is to not only post their responses maybe to one question, but also to post a response to one of their classmates' questions. And there's the online collaboration. Are there any questions or anything up to this point?
I was going to ask you with all the videos, if you have questions or directions of tasks to do, or just watch the videos, the one before.
Right. So
here I see their tasks.
Right. What I did on this one is just let them see the videos. There is another, I can't remember the name of it. They had one great one where you could post the video and then stop it and ask a question, and the students could not continue until they responded. That one stopped, and I don't remember the one that I use in its place. I have to look it up, but I do that sometimes. That's a great thing to do. I just didn't do it for this. This one has a whole bunch of things on it. I gave the kids the list, and it's just a screenshot from somewhere of the steps of the Seder. And then I do a lot of work with Safaria. They're doing a webinar, as a matter of fact, within the next week, and it's definitely worth looking at. I create a lot of source sheets using that. This link takes you directly to the section of the Haggadah that this page focuses on, and it's halachma. So it gives them the Hebrew, it has the vowels in it, so it's easier to read, and it gives the English translation. Many of my colleagues like transliteration. I don't. I just refuse to use it. So they can keep going there, and that's their resource for this. Here, if this works, this is the Lino board, where I remind them also on the sticky to write their names and respond to a friend. And somebody did write something. And again, I try to put graphics on and different activities that will appeal to different levels of students. So this would be a great opportunity for differentiated instruction. Throughout, I have a couple of tools that lend themselves to that also. This is a video of a person that all three of us used to work with the steps. He's the Perlman School rabbi, Virginia, in case you didn't know. And then what I wanted the kids to do is watch the video, and then they have it in print to memorize the 15 steps of the Seder. Bonus, if they can master the hand motions, and they can record themselves and email it to me. What I need to do all the time is every now and then YouTube will take down a video or something happens with a website. You have to constantly check that the links are current and that the communication is consistent. One of my all-time favorites is I got a Google Voice number years and years and years ago. It's a free thing. You can go onto your web browser, look up Google Voice number, and you're given a number. When anybody calls it, all they get is a voice that says that this person is not available, please leave a message, something like that. I use it a lot for phonetic reading. What I used to do in my classroom is not take any time during the school day to hear students read, because if I'm with one, what are the other 21 doing? I would give them an assignment, and that night they had to go home and call the number and read for me. So in the space of 15 minutes, I could hear them all. Again, I tell them they must introduce themselves and say their full names. The problem every teacher has to watch out for is that what it does is transcribe the voice message. And because they're speaking or reading in Hebrew, it transcribes it into what they think is being said in English. And it comes out as being full of obscenities. It's horrible. You can test it for the fun of it, but do not open it up in front of kids unless you have seen it before. These are two just great fun videos from 613 and the Maccabees that I put in there. It's music the kids know, and again, it's to, keep their interest. What do you already know? One is a Quizlet, and the next one is, I'll show you in a second. And again, the students can play them over and over again. This one's from Achla, until they master the material. Achla they're good quizzes. The only problem is they don't show you if you're right or wrong. So here, the book read during the Seder, I'm gonna put down Talmud just, check my answer, and it just says, try again. I have not figured out a way how to get the correct answer. Until you get to the very end, it gives you all the answers. So it's hard to really learn on the spot. And the first one's Quizlet. That's an old favorite. They keep adding new features. So they have this space thing. They have all kinds of things that you can do. And the kids themselves are using Quizlet for their own tests and things like that to study. In this one, I asked the students to watch the video and look in different Haggadot, if they have them at home or online, at the ways the four sons are depicted. And then they should read about each one. This is an opportunity to then on their own leave the screen, or they can handwrite it. They can do it on a Word doc or a Google Doc, and they can write a paragraph about what they're most like, which one they're most like and why, or which one they strive to be most like. The possibilities are endless. This is just an opportunity to show another way to get them off the screen eventually. This is the song Dayenu. It's the one that most people do during the Passover Seder without going through the whole thing. And this also does not the whole song, but just a few of the lines. Here again this is to Safaria again, and the paragraph is the Magid section, Rabban Gamliel, Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. And then when we go back, they're supposed to go to this Google Doc. And this I have been using for years. I always want to use technology for the study of sacred text, but I did not want to be disrespectful to the text. And so what I started doing, and this was all based on an online class that I took years ago, is I made up this Google Doc. And what I did is under the student section, I would just put in the names of 2 or 3 students. So the students wouldn't know until they signed on whom they were working with. I let them, if they want, take selfies and put them in the spaces where their names are. In the Psukim section, depending on the level of the class, I would either copy and paste certain psukim in there, or in the case of Torah, I might say, Sefer Devarim Perek Chet Pasuk Chet, and then they would have to look it up and put in the actual psukim here. They would have to put in the text, and they would have to study it with the person that they were grouped with. The next thing they would do was go to the Instagram column, the 3rd column, and instead of having the kids do a Google search of images, which can be dangerous, I would give them a bank of images on the bottom of this from which to draw. The last thing is Twitter. I know Twitter, I think triple the amount of characters you can use, I'm not sure, but I would still limit it to 40, a good way to get the essence of what they learned and to make sure they really grasp the main context, the concept, is for them to come up with a tweet using the hashtag in English and leaving out the spaces just as they would post something on Twitter. And this is an ongoing assessment because you can have different kids' names down multiple times or do this for every section of Torah or anything that you study. I'm happy to give you this whole presentation if anybody wants. Next, this is another fun, they all know it, they can get up and dance. For this one, it's also another project that is good for differentiated instruction. There are 4 names to Pesach, and what they needed to do was on a Google slide or a Word doc or whatever, copy the 4 names in Hebrew, English, and they would have to find an image or draw an image. This is good for younger kids also, to draw an image. And this builds in more simple accountability. The one I showed you before, the Google Doc with the 4 columns, that's a little more in depth and a little more complex.
Lisa, is there a quick question for you? In these great presentations and sort of prompts, are there spaces for kids to put in their own images? So, I mean, like, how are they sharing? Because I noticed in some of these prompts, like the 4 names of Passover, we had done a similar activity over Zoom that I led right before Pesach, and it was great, but it was highly focused on the kids creating their own imagery and symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Is there space, how would you incorporate in the asynchronous sort of online of Google Slides, space for them to create their own or share what they had done? It was all by email. It looks like it's by email. How are the kids seeing each other's work?
In this case, it's by email. What I've done with kids is have them send me all different things at different times, and either I make a Google slide presentation out of it or I make an iMovie.
Okay, cool.
That's what I've done. I mean, I'm sure there's more. This is what I've done.
Okay.
Next, in place of Quizlet, there's this thing called quizzes, and it's not going to work here, but I encourage you to explore it. It's a lot more colorful and bright and fun than Quizlet. I just can't get it to work by going this way. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or I never finished. But I did create the game. It's just not letting me play it. But it does exist. And let's see if we can see. I
Can
did.
you click play live and have it work? The purple
Maybe.
button?
Yeah, it's telling me to sign in and everything all over again. Let's see if. You're so smart. Okay. No players currently in the game. Please ask your students to join. This might just be me as the host.
Right. So what we would do is we would go to joinmyquiz.com and
Right.
put in that code to join your quiz.
Right. And I only put 1 or 2 sample things in here. I'm not that adept at quizzes right now, so I didn't want to do too much with it. But it, like I said, it's just more attractive than Quizlet. Jewish Interactive is, if you haven't explored it, it is a phenomenon, and it's a nonprofit. I don't know if it's out of England or Jerusalem, but they have everything you could possibly want. Just everything. One of their subsidiaries is what? One of their subsidiaries is this, I think it's called JI Bytes, and that will give you the opportunity to make ebooks, which a lot of the computers have had that opportunity within, like an Apple, like the MacBook Airs or Pros that we used to use at Perlman, for example. You can make the ebook right on there with their features. But JI Bytes, it's a Jewish site, and they give you a lot of background material and resources that you can use to make it. So, like I said, I'll share this with you, and you can click on any one of these for all kinds of units and activities. It's just a great resource to have.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, here's jistudio.net. That also has ebooks, interactive games, and activities.
JI Studio?
Yeah. This one had, it's just a link to a YouTube video. You can tell that it's nostalgic music from Israel from way back when. I always like to connect. A whole lesson could be built around this. Next, additional tips for asynchronous learning. It is important to communicate early and often. You can't leave the kids to just go off and do this. The teachers really need to be in contact with them, not so much monitoring their progress, but seeing if they need support, if they enjoyed it, letting the kids share, trying to do something where it keeps the kids engaged with it, because they've been in school 5 days a week, every single week with their friends, and they went from that to isolation. So they still need that personal connection in addition to the asynchronous learning. If any of the links change, there's like the Google Doc, for example, I might have a second page to it with another assignment. I would need to let the students know that they need to go back into that one. This also needs to be mobile friendly. I did a survey in my school and found out that if there are parents who are using their computers at the same time that there's Hebrew school, for example, not everybody has a device available. And if I've been doing school-wide Kahoots every week, and they need a lot of devices. It's the main screen to see what I'm showing, and then they need the other device on which to play. So if the kids ever find themselves in a situation like the middle schoolers all have their own phones, they should be able to access all of this on their own phones if they don't have a computer available at that time. I'm going to show you something now that is just the answer to everybody's questions, believe it or not. This is from Jets, from Smadar Goldstein. I'm a groupie. And this is her toolbox for all kinds of all kinds of tech tools, what they're good for, what they're not good for, and how much they cost. This is just a huge resource. If you've never taken her course on No Teacher Left Behind, I suggest that you have your teachers do it. This is an amazing, amazing resource.
I find, so 2 questions. First of all, can everybody, I signed up to this, I paid, and I haven't been using it. It's too hard. It's too, you know, it's for mostly for day school, the amount of work and you know, with teachers and you know, time that they need. So, but this, it's funny because I started to create a form like this, a Google, not form, a Google Doc like that with my teachers, with all the tools that, but I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah,
to
I
see
mean,
what-
it might have been, I took it when I was at the day school. However, if you break it down and just tackle, I put a ton into this slideshow. If you take one tool and perfect it, and you'll find, I have 2 teachers that love using Seesaw as a way to communicate. They put up the work and everything there. They could embed some of these tools in there for other activities and to break it up a little bit. I have teachers doing whatever they're comfortable with, as long as they maintain a consistency with the platforms that they choose and do all the, you know, teacher work, the checking in, the relationship building and all of that. You know, you break it down. It doesn't have to be overwhelming.
No, I think kids are much easy, you know, they love the different tools. They don't
Right.
want to stay only with Quizlet or Kahoot, or they want.
Right.
There's also right now, there's virtual code names. I don't know if you're familiar with that game, and virtual bingo, virtual Jeopardy. There are a lot of other games.
Yeah.
And they do all support Hebrew. All of the ones I did here support Hebrew. JeopardyLabs.com supports Hebrew. I'm not sure if the bingo one does. I have to try that. But because of the situation the whole world is in, there's
Things
more.
are
And
popping up.
what?
Things are popping up, like more and more people, things are coming.
Right.
That's
Right.
great. Thank you very much.
I will tell you also, I have 2 teachers in one of my grades who made a website. It's not like Facebook, but it's sort of like Facebook. It's a very private, the kids have a code to get on, and everything they need is on the website. It's amazing. And I actually asked them to do a presentation a couple weeks ago, and it's beyond me right now because I don't have a class to practice it with, and I don't want to do it just for the sake of doing it. But the other teachers now know to whom they can go if that's an avenue they want to go down and learn and maybe use that as a platform. I think now is also the time to begin thinking about September, that even if we're in school again, with or without masks, this opens up a whole new world of opportunities for teaching in ways that we never have before.
Lisa, is that a private network program, or is that like a separate application, or do they create something on Google or something like
The
that?
website,
Yeah, the website.
it's Weebly.
Oh, it's
Weebly.
Yeah, that's
And-
fantastic.
Yeah, somebody who's extremely tech savvy
Yeah.
said it took her a long time to figure it out, but it's been good because the families have appreciated having everything in that organized fashion, and it's not hot plop.
So actually, that was my question too. One of the things we've been seeing a lot of is parents being overwhelmed with the number of emails going back and forth, getting hit with a lot of the stuff that's meant to go to their student, especially for those middle school kids who have devices, and there's privacy questions about how are we communicating directly with students. So to have everything in a safe and private space, semi-private space, is really helpful and important for the kind of speed of the communication that's going back and forth.
Right.
So that's, yeah, I've really been curious about things like Weebly and blogs, and if that stuff can go online already, then students have access to it.
Mhm.
We've been trying with Lino boards and with Padlet to reach our middle schoolers only because it's too much for the younger students who are in the
Right.
reading phase. But I really appreciate what you're sharing about different platforms to do the same set of tasks so that kids can move from space to space virtually a little bit. And it's nice to see ways that they're interacting, because that's, I think, the key.
Yeah, I would also honestly pick up the phone and call
Yeah.
the schools that the kids go to and try to be consistent with the schools, or ask the kids what they're using.
Yeah.
Also, during Chol HaMoed Pesach, I sent out a Google Forms survey to the parents, just knowing what they're going through, because many of them have shared it with me. And I wanted them And I specifically made their names required because I wanted them to know that they were empowered and engaged in making the decisions going forward, because we still had a good chunk of the school year. I was blown away by the amount of responses, and they were really thoughtful responses. And I used the results of the survey for going forward on how, figuring out the rest of the school year. So for example, I didn't realize the teachers weren't making their sessions recurring meetings. Well, that's an easy thing. So they have the link to go to, the Zoom link to go to, and it's not another email necessarily. I use our Facebook group page. I started a page for the religious school parents, and a page was one-sided. It was only me posting, and I wanted something where there was give and take. So I started a Facebook group for the parents, and I have probably 75 or 80% of the parents on. So I know it's not 100%, but it's grown, and it's been a big help also, because I use that more for public service announcements and reminders. I don't want to start using Remind. I know a lot of the schools use it, but I don't want to add another anything.
We've been using Remind, and also something we've been doing to get
Can you
links.
tell me, a few minutes, what Lino is?
Yeah, I'll show you one.
Not familiar with Lino.
Ben, you were saying something? I'm sorry.
No, we've just been doing, what I've been doing is putting all the Zoom links into a Google Sheet and sharing that before class. So
Right,
if there's a problem with the codes or anything, there's
Right.
one place people can go.
Sorry, Ben, are you answering me? I can't hear you.
So I was saying that for our Google, we have a Google page, a Google Sheet that has a nice list of all the links and pages people can go to for a day. So parents don't have to get emails directly from the teachers. Right. They can get one email from the school and a website where all the links are going to be posted and the codes and passwords.
Mm-hmm. So I know that's what they're doing in the Lower Marion School District. And we just did that. We just did that too. It's great. This is a Lino board, and each Post-it has a task. You can put videos, you can put photographs, you can put anything on here.
So it's almost like Google Class?
Not Google Classroom.
Google Classroom, no?
No, it's a different format. But this one, what I can do is, it's not going to work because I'm not logged in as a student, but you can click on a Post-it. It appears larger, and you can type in it with your name. And again, it supports Hebrew if you want. And then you can put it anywhere on the board you want. If you don't want kids moving it, you can pin it. That's what these pins are. And then you can pin and unpin. So sometimes a child will inadvertently put their Post-it on top of another one. As the administrator, I can move it, and then I can pin them. If I find something that is inappropriate, I can click on the little thing that one or the end one, peel off. You can peel it off. It's not logged in for some reason. Let me just see if I can log in and show you, because this is great.
And it's free?
Here it is. I only do free. The only thing I upgraded is Zoom and Kahoot. Here's Hayelet Hara. I don't know why that one. It's from a long time ago. So here's an example where I have a video and I play it. It was done as a performance. And then this was somebody reading the book over here. And then I asked the kids, when did you do something wrong? Whatever. So each one of these is a Post-it that a child put up. So I'll click on a Post-it. It's not letting me do it. I don't know why. But this is where the kids put their Post-its up. They put their names on there, and what they did, they will have fun finding the little graphics that they can put on. But again, you see the options here. You can add photographs, videos, files, if you want to put a file up. And I don't know what this last one is. I can't see it. But this is also, it's like Padlet. It's just a little more sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
So
it has more option, like Padlet has more template, or it's one board and you build it up?
You pick the background for both. On Padlet, there's one big plus sign, you hit that and you write your response. This one, like, the kids can play around, and they didn't do that on this one, but they could put their little emoji. Here's one. I put this emoji up. Please watch. There are just more options with this.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, it's more sophisticated. So this was a good one. I did it when we were studying Vayetse, I guess. I don't know. I don't even remember. I'm so out of this, but this is a whole video about wells and cisterns and what's the difference. And the kids had to do the research and talk about the difference between a well, a cistern, and a reservoir. And it put what we were studying in Torah a little more in context. Plus, it gave them more background knowledge. These are left over from my day school days, but you can do it for anything.
It's great.
That's Lino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to give options and to let them do whatever they want. Although that means, in a way, that it's like homework, and parents really don't want extra work between the Zooms.
So interesting that you say that. In the survey that I did, I asked the parents how much time they would be willing to have their kids do asynchronously. So if they watched a video, for example, would they do a follow-up activity? And this could be the follow-up activity, or the video can be in here. So there's a balance. I would also encourage everybody to do virtual volunteering somehow. I started doing this Mitzvah Mania Monday or something, Monday Mitzvah Mania, where I post virtual things that the kids can do. And I just think it's important.
Yeah, I wanted to do a mitzvah day. We were supposed to have yesterday a mitzvah day, so I tried to do it, but then it got a little out of hand. I said, okay, I'm not. But and I feel things that I post on my weekly letter with options, I really don't know how much the parents,
Okay,
encourage.
what they do for me, I don't care so much. They're coming to their classes. We have a
Yeah.
good attendance rate in the classes. I get a lot of kids on Sunday when I do this Havdalah Plus thing. But if I do something else and only a couple show up or a couple send things in, I don't care. It's just supplementing, and it's optional. It all has to be optional. I'm sorry, Beth, did you have a question?
I did. Can you post the kinds of virtual volunteering ideas that you have? Because
Yeah, well, the easiest one, where are you located?
we're in the 5-county area. Our students, because we're the only folk shul, our families really, they travel
Okay.
up to 45 minutes.
So the best one is I called Federation and got the time of the mitzvah food pantry, and I did a pre-Passover drop your chametz off at this time. It was Mondays from 9 to 4. That's what gave me the idea of doing it on Mondays. They also do it on Thursdays, but I just stuck with Monday. So there are mitzvah food pantries all over. You could find that out. And then I did the same thing at the end of Pesach. Like, do you have any Passover food or matzah left over? Do that. I have them writing letters and cards to the elderly.
No,
Yeah.
we're doing those too. I'm that, like, the basic stuff, but I'm wondering, what I was thinking is having kids call elders, or
Right.
like if there's other kinds of things that really outside of the box besides, I don't know. I'm just really excited about thinking about how our young people, because like you think about it developmentally. So I talk to the kids about like self-care. That's a mitzvah.
Right.
And then pet care, helping their families, doing a little bit more gardening. I mean, there's, and then of course, so you're growing out, developmentally, but how do they they could do things in their absolute neighborhood. Like some people are putting up those rainbows in their windows.
Can we
Mhm.
brainstorm, like, can we meet and brainstorm? Because I'm looking for other things to do. I did the food pantry. I'm doing things with seniors, but
Here, so there is something, it's
So
a
this is
food
something I'm
program
sharing my
that
screen.
We Repair.
Yeah.
We Repair has some, and there is Just Serve.
Yeah.
thank you.
So yeah, are you pulling that together, Linda?
Lisa,
Lisa, I'm sorry, I meant to say
that's
that.
okay. Everybody calls me Linda Richmond. It's Mike
Right.
Myers' mother-in-law from Saturday Night Live.
Right, I
Everybody.
understand. I apologize. Yeah, thank you.
I wasn't. I'm happy, Virginia. I don't know what we can do, but maybe, is there a list somewhere or something that we can create that has these virtual volunteer opportunities?
And maybe it's not just volunteer. These are really service learning.
Right.
And it's, we can use, if we use like, civic engagement or use it, because volunteer usually think about like person to person,
Right.
but we're really thinking about how to continue to develop the mindset, the mitzvah mindset, we could call it,
I'd love that. I would love to brainstorm with you.
All right, me too.
When I worked at Ramon the Poconos, I was their ed director, and the rising 10th graders had a class in Judaica called Tzarchei Tzibor, meeting the needs of the community. And I did this years ago, but it was all the background texts for exactly this. And then they would go out and do their service projects every Wednesday. One group went to a senior citizens home, one went to a home for disabled children. I realized, and one went to a park. I know it's got to now be virtual for the most part, but that would be great to put together.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who the teacher was. I don't know who did this, but I think I heard about it through this group, about the director that took caterpillars to the teachers and were growing them. And I thought
Cindy.
that was just, we should put that in there. I mean, I just thought that was extraordinary. What a great idea.
What did they do?
Thank you. That's actually me.
Yeah,
What did
loved
you
it.
do?
What's that?
What was the project?
I ordered, I'm not showing my face because it's just too embarrassing today.
You can't top this.
All right, watch this. I really can. So
I would give
turning it off.
anything for that hair. Go ahead.
All right, well, goodbye here. I ordered caterpillars for every one of my preschool classrooms.
I just love it.
And so they should come any minute. They come in, like let me just put this on. All right. They
Are
come
they
in
being delivered to
like
the
a
kids?
cup with 5 caterpillars in them. And so I figured like every day, every couple of days, the teachers will be able to show them on Zoom or on a live video so that people can go back and look at it, or a pre-recorded video, to see how the caterpillars grow, and that when they finally, go up into their chrysalises and they're in there and they get transferred into the net, and once they emerge as butterflies, I thought that we could all meet outside the school. We have a monarch way station outside our school. Actually, we have a young little friend that planted a butterfly garden outside the building. So I thought it would be a great way to, socially distance, but still be able to see each other and, see the new life that has emerged and sort of, feel the symbolism of that.
That's great. Next year they could do that before, like in enough time for Yom HaShoah.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, that could also tie that in. That's 100% true. Oh my God, I can't believe I let everyone see it like this.
Yeah. Anyway, I would really love to pursue the virtual volunteering.
Lisa,
Hi.
I had to join this recording late today
That's
because
okay.
I fell asleep. But the stuff that I missed, I saw like the last 25 minutes worth of things. But the stuff that I missed, some of the sites that you shared, will this be recorded?
It's Cindy, it's all, hi Cindy. It's all being
Hi.
recorded so we can share this with you afterward.
And I'm happy to
Okay.
share the Google Doc link, the Google link.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really, a lot of this technology is very, very new for me, and it's almost as frightening as the virus. And
I get that.
you know,
I get that.
yeah, but I really want to be able to offer, for our families, the best possible stuff that we can do for them. What I really want people to understand through all of this is that we care, that just because, we're not there physically and we can't touch each other and look at each other face to face in person, that we're still there for them. We're still thinking about them, and we're still trying to find ways to engage them so that they feel that we care. It's not about money or anything else. It's just about, if we're in
Right.
this for the love of Judaism and for the passion of wanting to, to grow good Jewish people, then I think this is an amazing opportunity for us as educators to be able to show how much we really do care. So, and I want that message to come across to people.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I wanted to brainstorm, and Virginia, maybe it's another time that we do virtual coffee, but tasks that are not involving screens at all.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful topic.
One of my teachers actually, I needed to give it a twist, but he found an artist that I forget now the name. It's an Israeli artist that make faces or make different things from objects in the house. Any object, I mean, like silverware, anything, dolls, just paper, and make different things. And we discussed, and then I said to him, he went too far. It was not great, but then we switched it to, for example, go and make the flag of Israel from things you have in the house, which is easy. Or if you want to do a little more sophisticated, the menorah or the map of Israel, and then either take a picture of that and in the next Zoom show it, or you can actually glue it and make a picture of it and then show it. But I remember seeing an exhibition in the Tel Aviv Museum of a Brazilian guy, of course I forget the name, also went to big trash and big, what do you call it, like wasteland, and pick up stuff and make huge art out of it and took picture of it. So this is something that everybody has.
It's my fruit bowl.
Great.
It's made of spoons.
So I'll
Very
tell you what I'm doing for Yom HaKappot. I made sure everybody has sidewalk chalk, and most of them did it Sunday, but tomorrow I hope is a nice day. They're all outside, either drawing an Israeli flag or something they connect to Israel, or something, a happy
Oh, wow.
Israel. And they're taking pictures and sending it to me, and I'm putting it into an iMovie.
I love that.
Please don't do that this year, Naama, please.
What?
Please don't do it this year. Do it for Shavuot and have them do flowers or something. But they're all in the same neighborhood.
No, I think it as an advocacy for Israel more than anything else.
Right, but a lot of them have done it in like their backyard cement patios and things like that.
Neat.
That's it, Virginia. I can send you, I don't know if you were still.
Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been, oh, wait, I can't hear. There you go. I had my earbud out. Lisa, thank you so much. You shared so much and such a variety, and really kept the focus on the Jewish side, which was awesome. So thank you very much.
Thank you
We're
for the opportunity.
And if any of you, like Lisa just, rather not Lisa, Nama just said she had an idea for another session. If you think that you would like to share a session sometime, please let us know. You talked about doing something that was focused on non-screen activities. Maybe we do something like that. Maybe one of you has some great ideas that you could share. So we will definitely consider that for the future. So Lisa, thank you so much. I'm going to
Thank
stop
you.
the
Thank you.
recording.
Thank you.
And